Hi, welcome to my channel. Here we are on the front porch, and this is what it looks like today from my front porch. This is a very old, probably 100-year-old, huge cedar tree that fell in a storm that we recently had. It's really close to the corner of the house. It's close to the porch, and it's been standing here, like I said, probably as long as the house has been here. And so we had this very unexpected storm come through that did a whole lot of damage, and I'm going to share some of that with you today. And the reason this tree is still here, we haven't been able to clean it up. It's been several weeks since it fell and since the storm came through, is that it was full of bees. And so we were not able to get it cleaned up. We were able to get some other things cleaned. We were very blessed to have a group of people come to help us work. One Saturday we had about 10 men working. That was including my husband and my two sons, but we had family and friends and even friends of friends that we had never met before that came, and it was such a blessing, and we do appreciate them so much. So this storm came through, and we had no warning at all. There had been no like weather forecasts for storms, no severe thunderstorm warnings or whatever, how you get those little notification things on your phone. We had nothing. So it was really a shock when it happened. At the time, I was the only person awake in my house. It was at 10:30 at night. Everybody else was asleep, and I was sitting in the little keeping room right next to the kitchen. It was pouring down rain, and the wind was blowing, it was really, really strong wind. But all of a sudden, the sound of the wind changed. The sound of the wind went from being wind blowing to sounding like a roaring sound. It was really scary. And like I said, it happened just all of a sudden. And then as soon as the wind changed to that sound, I started hearing what sounded like metal, like being peeled off of something to me. It was just like a loud, crunching, metal sounding. And since we have a metal roof on our house, we have metal roofs on our barn, that's what I thought I was hearing. And then I started hearing things flying around in the backyard. I was really worried about my chickens. I have some new chickens that are in a coop in the backyard, and that was the first thought that I had, was that my chicken coop had just flown away, and probably all my chickens would be killed because they would have been roosting in there. But it happened so fast, and it just sounded so terrible. So after all of this stuff's happening, the people in my house started waking up, and my boys had been sleeping upstairs. They both came downstairs, and they told the same story. Their rooms are on opposite sides of the upstairs, and both of them came down separately and told me that the whole upstairs of the house was like swaying back and forth, which I believe it. Our house was built in the 1800s. So it has withstood a lot of bad weather, a lot of storms, a lot of hurricanes. And I do think that it was built to move. I mean, obviously, because it settles and we have lots of problems from the movement of the house. But I guess that's one of the things, that happens with an older house like this. So I almost didn't even make this video, but I thought for those of you who follow my channel, you've seen a lot of these things, and you're going to notice in the future that things look different and that we don't have some of the things that we had before because they were destroyed in the storm, like you just saw the greenhouse. We don't have a greenhouse anymore. So I just thought that it would be something that I should let you see. So here is my backyard, and these are things, like I said, that flew around. We have hurricanes all the time, but we get a warning, and when we know that that's coming, we go outside and we secure all of the things in the yard that can fly away or do damage, and we didn't have that warning this time. So I had two glass top tables out here. This is the ring around. That's a metal ring, and that's all the glass that came off of it. That metal ring was actually attached to the table, so it ripped the whole ring off of it and broke the glass. Here is the table that ring was attached to. And then there's my other glass top table, and there's the glass right there off of it. So that was some of the damage. That was the chicken coop you just saw real quick there, right there, the one that I was worried about my chickens in. It wasn't damaged, thankfully, and they weren't hurt. But that was a panel off the greenhouse. Those panels off the greenhouse were blown all over the place. And we had trees down. A tree came really close there to hitting my husband's work truck. And there is the little carport that you may not realize it, but it's where we do a lot of our processing of our food. When we do our corn and things like that, we use that little carport to do them under because it gets us out of the weather, and it's a place to set up our, tools and things that we're using. So we just had a lot of trees down. As soon as the weather let up a little bit, we all went outside. It was still pouring down rain, but we went out to check on the animals, because when you have animals, you have to make sure they're okay and that the fences are still secure. So we were walking around at midnight in the pouring down rain, checking on our animals, and they were all okay. There's our onion harvest for this year, which all got wet, but it's okay. They'll dry back out. And back here behind there, a lot more trees down, and you can't see it from here, but our tractors are parked back there. There's a trailer and 2 tractors that were hit. This is our tractor that has the front end loader on it, so it's the one that we typically would be using to clean up damage like this, and it was damaged pretty severely, unable to use it. This is just kind of showing you a walk down the lane, and a lot of these trees were the trees that were blown down. And you don't really think about it, but these trees provide shade. They provide shade for work areas where we do some work, like some of these shaded where they do the firewood, and then they also shade places where animals live and give animals some shade to get out of the hot, blaring sun all the time. So, losing those is not good. Now, one of the first things that we had to do was to clear, this is back to that cedar tree in the front yard, we had to clear off the ramp. This was a top priority the next morning after we went and checked on the animals during the middle of the night, because this is my mama's only way to get out of the house. So if something would happen to her, or, if there was something going on that she had to get out of the house, she would not be able to with all of these limbs across there. So that was top priority. And we were felt really blessed that the ramp itself didn't get damaged. It did, the hand railing got knocked loose, but we were able to fix that. So that part could have been a lot worse. If it had gotten damaged, we would have had to rebuild the ramp the first thing the next morning, so that she would have had a way to be able to get out of the house. So we did have, this is the very, morning after, and we had a few friends and family show up that morning to help with some of the stuff. And then, like I said, a couple of weeks later, we had a big crew that came and helped. So this is one of the tractors that was back there under all those trees. It did not get damaged, but like I said, this right here is the tractor that did get damaged. It's an older tractor, so we are having trouble finding some of the parts to fix it, but we will get all of the parts and get the tractor fixed and going again. So, this might not seem like a lot to some of you, but it's pretty devastating to us, because all of the things that we have, like the carport and the greenhouse, they're all things that we've saved for and been able to get to make what we do easier for us, you know, like to help with the growing our food and processing our food and things like that. And now those things are gone. So now we're going back to, you know, the time before we had them. And it's just going to make it be a little bit more difficult. Not impossible, but a little bit more difficult. But it is pretty devastating because we're not in a position that we can just go out and buy those things again and replace them. So it will take a while, a long time probably, before we can replace some of the things, you know, that were damaged in this storm. And then other things like the trees, they can never be replaced, at least not in our lifetime. We can plant trees, but we won't be able to benefit from the shade and things that they provide. And we have to move some of our animals to places where they will have shade that they don't have now because of losing the trees. But I don't want you to think that we're not very thankful, because we are. We're very thankful that our house was still standing and not damaged. Had that tree fallen on our house, it would have gone straight into the bedroom of one of my sons. And then my mom's room is right underneath that. So they both could have been hurt very badly if that tree had fallen on our house. So we're very thankful that it didn't. And we're very thankful for all of the people that came and helped us clean up. And this right here is one example of that. My husband works for a company that has equipment, and his boss allowed him to go and get this skid steer and bring to our house to help clean up the storm damage. And it was really good because we couldn't use our tractor. And so having this, like he said, that machine can do the work of, you know, so many men and so much faster. It would have taken months to get all of this stuff cleaned up without that piece of machinery. And this is actually, you know, his boss is so kind in letting us use equipment when we need to. And so we really appreciate that and feel blessed by that too. And then the people that came and helped us clean up a couple of weeks after this storm, they brought a big tractor too, and were able to pick up and move some of the things that we weren't able to do prior to that. So that was also very helpful. Also, this storm didn't just affect us. It left a really huge trail before it got to our house, a huge trail through our parish of trees down and damage, and then it came through our property. I'm just showing you the things right here around our house, but out in our pasture, we had a ton of trees down. If you saw my video before about the hurricane damage that we had at least that many trees down again. I did go out into the pasture that time and filmed and showed you how many trees we had down, but I didn't do that this time. So if you want to go back and look at that, you can go see. But we had probably like 30 or more trees down in the pasture. So it was a lot of damage, but it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't just us, because there was damage before. There was actually a line that you can follow before it got to our property, the damage on our property, and then the damage past our property, where it just went on past and did a lot of damage. And the really weird thing about it, like, I could never find anything about the storm on the news after the fact. Like I said, we had no warnings before, and then I never could find anything about it after. So it's just been really strange that that we didn't really hear, you know, anything about it. It was very odd. So I'm going to show you a little bit about what it looks like now after the cleanup. We still have some more to do, like taking the greenhouse down. But this is the area where the tractors were. There was a trailer in there, several things that were hit by the trees and covered with the trees. And we got all of this cleaned up, thankful to the help that we had. And then you can see kind of going down the lane. This is where this is where those trees were. So they were going down this little, it's a road bed. and they fell into the pasture side and onto, like I said, the tractors and the wood cutting and splitting equipment. That's where we kept it and used it in the shade of these trees. You know, and if you would like to help, the thing you can do to help me so much is just to like and comment on my videos. When you do that, it really helps the algorithm to show my videos to more people. And when you subscribe, that helps the algorithm also. So I appreciate that so much. These are my flower beds that were covered by the tree. And these are dahlias right here in this bed and in the next little bed right here. I've never grown them before. This is the first year I grew them, so I was really upset that they got a tree on them. But once we got it cut off, they weren't broken. They weren't broken down. They were still pretty little, so that was good. And I just wanted to show you something happy at the end with the flowers there. So thank you for being here. And like I said, I would appreciate it a lot if you liked, commented, and subscribed to my channel. And I will see you back again next week with a new video. And I appreciate you all very much.